ABC, it's Greeno. Been a little while since I've made a video, an update video, new finds. Man, this last week has just kicked my ass at work and just been busy outside of work too, so definitely have a stack here to show. So this may be a little long, so grab your beverage of choice and kick back. Got a couple new things in here. Have some stuff that's just been in the to be listened to piles as normal, and a little bit of this and that. There's some metal here towards the end, and so a little bit of everything. So everybody just hopefully will see something they dig. Going to get started. This is something I ordered. Found it online and checked them out and was like, man, it's pretty cool. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger. It's Cargo. It's a band from early 70s. This album came out in 72. The band is actually, they were called September. And they were from the Netherlands. And they went in and started recording this album, and it sounded nothing, I guess, like what they sounded like before, so they called the album Cargo, or the band Cargo. The album is also self-titled. But very interesting stuff. This is a killer packaging, and it's basically the album is on side. It's a double. The album is on side 1 and 2, the original album, and then side 3 and 4 has demos. But the original album only had 4 songs. The band kind of just had basic ideas for the songs and went into the studio and just started playing, jamming, and how they come out, like one's 10 minutes, one's 15 minutes, 8 minutes, and 5 minutes. And it's actually what's playing now. I don't know if you can hear it, but definitely digging this. Alright, here's some cool goofy scores. Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack. Got it for a couple bucks. I don't pick up many soundtracks other than 80s soundtracks, so I grabbed that. I think it's pretty much mint. And from the same place I found Spring Break. It's pretty much mint also. It's got Cheap Trick, NRBQ, Jack Mack, and a Heart Attack. This was from like 82, I think. 83. And like I said, I don't pick up many soundtracks other than 80s stuff here and there. Alright, this was a total buy for, I mean, the cover caught my eye, of course. And then I got looking at it and I picked it up 100% because of Glass Orchid Aftermath. Mark is always talking about that Electra 4000 series, and I found one, which is Bamboo. I mean, come on, look at the cover. As soon as I found it in the box, flipping through, I pulled it out, and I'm like, holy crap, look at these guys. So, had to grab it. It's pretty cool. It pretty much sounds like exactly what the cover looks like. It's that 60s hippie, acoustic-y folk kind of thing, I guess. Not heavy or rock or anything really, but interesting. Kind of dug it. Somebody showed this, and I can't remember who, and I was like, man, I don't have a copy of that. I need to grab it. So I found one for $1. GTR. I think Weavy Ray showed it, if I remember right. Of course, this has Steve Howe and Steve Hackett. Pretty cool album. Remembered it from back in the 80s. I had a couple new things, new reissues. Just these were pretty much blind buys. Talking to a guy in a store, and he specializes in 70s stuff, 60s and 70s stuff. And I told him I was in this total 70s hard rock thing, and he's like, well, check out a couple of these. So grabbed them and pretty much dug them. This is Clap, Have You Reached Yet? And this is pretty interesting. It was a band from California, a little town in California, and 73 or so, early 70s, they recorded this album, and it's recorded very badly. It's real thin sounding, but man, the songs are there. I mean, it makes me think of it's like the cross between the New York Dolls and the Stooges and late 60s, early 70s, you know, harder rock. It's not real glammy or anything like the Dolls, but it just has that, it's in there. But I definitely dug this, and it's a shame the production is so bad. I mean, it's not so bad you wouldn't listen to it, but it's just, it sounds like it was recorded at home, you know what I mean, on a, just real thin, but very interesting. And I gotta give these some more listens. Most of them have only had time to spin them once, so this one's definitely going back on the table. Another one this guy suggested, he suggested the Clap and also this, The Human Beast, Volume 1. This was interesting. It wasn't quite heavy enough for me, but I dug it. It has a little of that psych in it, which is cool, but I'm still looking for the heavier stuff from that era. But this is a nice reissue on Sunbeam Records. They were a 3-piece from England. And actually, I was reading in here, I think it was the bass player for this band. His son is in the Brian Jonestown Massacre or whatever. I think he plays drums or something. So it's kind of not into that band. I know some people in the VC have mentioned him, so you might find that interesting. This was kind of crazy, and I really ended up digging this. But the band is Fuse. This came out in like 1970. It's a reissue. And what it is, this guy right here, I don't know if you can see well on the camera, is Rick Nielsen, and the guy in the middle is Tom Peterson. So basically this is those guys before they got Cheap Trick up and running. They actually had an album out as a band called Fuse. Nothing at all like Cheap Trick, but a lot of that kind of British hard rock kind of sound to them. But man, very cool. Definitely dug this. Never even heard of this before. I was talking to that guy digging through the his boxes, and I pulled this out. I'm like, what is this? And he goes, yeah, it's a couple guys from Cheap Trick before Cheap Trick. And then I got reading in the blurb sticker there, kind of explains it, and I'm like, oh, I got to try that out. So grabbed that. And that came out in like 2001, so I'm not sure if the reissue is still floating around out there or not. Alright, next up is High Tide, Sea Shanties. And this was definitely interesting. It's a reissue on Sundays. And I'll show you the gatefold, it's pretty nice. The gatefold's actually better than the cover right there. But this has, find the sticker here. It has a dude that played, there's a guy named Tony Hill, and he played in a garage band called The Misunderstood. And what's the other? Simon House, who was a violinist who went on to be with Hawkwind. So it's kind of crazy. It's a little psychedelic space rock kind of stuff. not real heavy, still kind of not what I was definitely looking for, but I definitely dug this. Very different. So I'd never heard of him before. He suggested it, and I grabbed it, and glad I did. It's pretty cool. All right, this next band, I pulled out an album kind of to show with it. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Bubble Puppy. I've had this for a while. It's just a reissue from the 80s, I think. I think they were from Texas, if I remember right. Yeah. And they were kind of that 60s psych, I guess you could call it. But they changed their name and released an album. They changed their name to Demian. And I've had this on CD for a while, and I finally found the reissue on vinyl, so online, so I snagged it up. This is great. Yeah, bordering on that hard rock, early 70s hard rock sound. So definitely glad to come across this on vinyl. Alright, a couple other things I found online, not reissues. Came across these guys, I can't remember what website, but I was checking them out on YouTube, and it turns out the singer in the band was Derek St. Holmes, who I love. You know, the singer for, he was with Nugent for a while, and the name of the band is Blood of the Sun. This is the album Death Ride. What a cool cover. And this is the drummer from St. Vitus and a keyboard player, and I can't remember who he played with, but he plays those John Lord sounding kind of licks. And that's what they go for, man. It's that 70s rock, Deep Purple with a touch of Southern in it at times. But wow, just killer band. And I found out St. Holmes was in the band. It was like, well, I got to get some more of these guys, you know. But it turns out the drummer and the keyboard player are the two main guys, and they kind of rotate everybody else. But from what I've read. But St. Holmes is on this album, and it's a great album. But I wanted to check out more, and I ordered their new one, or newest one. And this one I actually found cheap for like 11 or 12 bucks on rockadrome.com. Cool site, check them out. But this one was an import, and it's limited, and it was definitely way more pricey, but I went ahead and grabbed it, and this album just smokes, man. It's Blood of the Sun, Burning on the Wings of Desire, and this is just fantastic. Same kind of stuff, different singer. I guess I better show the gatefold here for, or the back, I'm sorry, for Nivertube. And the front for that matter. But the singer on here is John O'Daniel, and the guy is just great. I actually like him better than Derek St. Holmes with him. But it turns out John O'Daniel also goes back to, you know, the classic rock kind of history. He was in a band called Point Blank in the 70s, and I pulled this off shelf just kind of to show his other band. I think he was on like 4 albums with them, 4 or 5, and then they had 1 album without him in the early 80s. But they're kind of heavy southern rock mix, cool stuff. But man, you get a chance, check out some Blood of the Sun. Very cool band. I knew nothing about them, and I actually have like 2 more albums I haven't got to yet, because Rockadrome had all the other ones real cheap, so I grabbed them all. So I'm slowly working through them. I'll show you those as I get to them. But get a chance, check them out. Really good band. Also finally grabbed a copy of this, the new Bad Brains, Into the Future. I'm digging this. It's taking me a little longer to get into than I thought, but I think it's going to be one of those albums. It's starting to click with me, and the more I hear it, the more I like it. So, and HR back with them, and it's definitely cool. It's on a cool splatter clear vinyl. Alright, found this. I love this band, and I didn't know anything was on vinyl by this band, and I'm now on the hunt for. They only released one album. I'm on the hunt for the full length on vinyl, and evidently it was only released in Europe and over there. It never come out here in America. But I found this on eBay, and it came out to be like, I won this for $1.50, and it ended up costing me like $12 to have it shipped. But totally worth it. It's the Nymphs. It's a 12-inch single for Sad and Damned. Freaking love this band. That album when it came out in like 91, I think, 92. It's the year on here. 91. Just played the hell out of this, and I actually like it so much I probably have 3 copies on CD. Anytime I find it for $1, I pick it up, because what if something happens to the other ones? Gotta have backup. But this actually has 4 tracks on it: Sad and Damned, Death of a Seamster, Just One Happy Day, and a demo of The Highway, demo version. Like I say, this came from Europe, and the dude sent it in like a really flimsy cardboard mailer and put it between 2 pieces of cardboard inside that mailer. When it got to me, the mailer was open, just completely open, and he slipped it in this way so the record could have just fell out. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, well, I'm screwed. The record's either gone, or it come out and was scratched and somebody threw it back in or something. But it's mint, perfect. Nothing. I couldn't believe it. I was so pissed when I first saw the package. I thought, just going to ruin my day. I didn't even want to pull it out and look at it. But it was perfect. So happy. I got to find the debut album. Love that album. If you haven't heard that album, check them out. If you dig, the early alternative stuff leading into the mid '90s. If you like Warrior Soul and that kind of thing, great. Check out the Nymphs, man. All right, ran into this and had to grab it. Scorpions, Lonesome Crow. This is the Billingsgate pressing, and this thing is pretty close to near mint. The vinyl is beautiful, and the cover just has just the slightest bit of wear at the top on both sides. That's about it, and I had to grab it. You hardly ever see this. I grabbed this a couple years ago and finally just getting around to listening to it. But it's cool, and just the whole time listening to it, I'm thinking, why did he do this? It's such a kind of waste of time. But it's Jake E. Lee, Running with the Devil. And it's a total covers album with all different singers. It was limited to 200 pressing. This is number 197, and it just has white labels. There's no information on the label at all on the record. But he does like Running with the Devil, Seek and Destroy, and like I say, they all have different vocalists. So Seek and Destroy is Chuck Billy from Testament, and then there's a bunch of Nugent stuff like Wango Tango, Journey to the Center of the Mind, Free for All, Wang Dang Sweet Poontang. But he has Stephen Pearcy, Chuck Billy, Stevie Rachel from Tough, Corey Clark from Warrior Soul, Phil Lewis from LA Guns, Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple, Alex Mitchell from Circus of Power, Janie Lane from Warrant, Lemmy from Motorhead, and another one with Piercy. But they're all like, he did them just like they sounded. Yeah, there was no, he didn't put a spin on anything. It was almost like they could have just marketed this as singers doing covers of these songs, because you wouldn't even know it was Jake E. Lee. But it's kind of cool, I guess. Throw it in with the collection. Found that down at Myrtle Beach a couple years back. Here's kind of a cool crossover band, Skid Marks, Live It Out. Kind of in that DRI kind of thing, maybe a little more towards the metal side. Maybe they're not as hardcore sounding as DRI can be, but pretty cool. Great band, October 31, Meet Thy Maker. This is a friend of mine, King Fowley. It's basically his band. He's the singer, drummer from Deceased, but this is nothing like Deceased, where they're more death metal, I guess you could say. This is more of a traditional metal band. This came out on Metal Blade and is limited to 1,000 copies. The vinyl was issued by Metal Supremacy out of Germany, and it's on like a purple vinyl. But if you dig 80s traditional metal, you know, give these dudes a shot. Speaking of which, Obsession, Scarred for Life, some great 80s metal. Vocalist was Mike Becerra. He went on to do an album with Loudness. But cool. This was on Enigma in 1986. I hope I pronounce this right. Saracen. Heroes, Saints, and Fools. I'm trying to remember the year. I think it was mid-80s somewhere. Metal, but it's honestly not the best album. Wasn't too impressed with this. It's on Nucleus Records. Explorer, Symphonies of Steel. Pretty cool album here. This was on Metal Blade. Yep. 1986. Just that mid-80s traditional metal, I guess, kind of that early power metal kind of thing to them. Definitely cool band. And last, LA Guns, Cocked and Loaded. Very cool band. Everybody knows the deal with LA Guns. Alright, that's it for now.